Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. Outside Auerbach Center for the last time before the Celtics and Nets finally tip it off. A week of preparation for Boston is over. Some final walkthroughs just concluded behind me here. And we spoke to Marcus Smart, Al Horford, as well as Ime Udoka as they get prepared just about 24 hours from now down the Mass Pike at TD Garden to take on the Nets and finally get this thing going. Jaylen Brown and others have talked about sleepless nights, antsiness going into this. Marcus Smart saying he's finally ready to get this going. Al Horford saying that, even as a guy who could use extra rest at 35, this is even taking a little bit too long here to get going. And so they've pretty much done everything they've needed to at this point. The film, the personnel, the schemes and assignments, even getting at each other extra, as Horford talked about after practice here. They were able to do it all. And they'll have the adjustment time after Game 1, Monday, Tuesday, as well as a long gap between Game 2 and Game 3 to do even more adjustments heading into this series. Ime Udoka, who obviously is about to coach a playoff series for the first time as a head coach, discussed basically how he's trying to keep this simple. Not overload them with information and not overdo any of the concepts and anything like that. He wants these guys to have a clear mind coming into this series. Now, he does anticipate having to mix assignments on Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, mix looks in terms of the defense that they throw out there. And as he said, the Nets have seen it all at this point. The Nets stars especially have seen it all from a coverage standpoint in their careers. So nothing's going to be a catch-all, nothing's going to be perfect. But he said the hardest part is when Irving, Durant, those guys are rolling, scoring at will, and the Celtics are still managing to lead. Finding that balance between, do you move what you're doing to try to slow down those guys, or do you take solace in what's working to build a lead so far? Here's what he said.
Battle that coaches always come up with is if a guy is really going off, but you're maintaining that 6, 7, 8 point lead. You're winning the game, but a guy is doing his thing, and you're trying to figure out when to go after him, but you're doing well enough to keep the lead. That's always a kind of a back and forth as far as that. But like I said, it's been, whether it's been Luka or Trae Young and different guys throughout the season, I think us mixing up matchups first of all, and then giving them different looks to try to keep you off balance, because guys get in the rhythm obviously way too easy in this league. They see something one time, they adjust to it, and as well as coaches. So with us, it's always finding that balance of, if they're making tough shots, something you're just going to have to live with. But overall, if you're maintaining that lead, that's the balance that you always seem to struggle with a little bit there. So we'll figure it out as far as that. We did some things late game against them in Game 4 with Durant to take it out of his hands, and it worked well for us, so we have that in our back pocket.
So obviously the plan that we've heard through 3 practices is to switch, stick with what they do first and foremost, the defense that's worked throughout this year, and minimize the amount of double teams, the amount of dump-off opportunities and a drop that Bruce Brown and others are going to have to make the Celtics pay off of Irving and Durant. They also want to seal up the Seth Currys of the world, the Andre Drummonds of the world. Make it so that, yes, even if Irving and Durant are going to average 30, which they've done effectively since Durant returned to the lineup, the other guys aren't killing you. You saw it against Cleveland on Tuesday. Curry had 0. Not a huge night for Drummond. Brown went off a little bit for 18, and that was effectively the difference maker after the Cavaliers made their comeback bid there. So that's the plan here. Udoka did preview an adjustment in terms of a defensive scheme, a defensive look that Boston didn't really play all that much this year. We've also heard about offensive sets that the Celtics have layered onto what they've done throughout this year so far. So we'll see things from the Celtics almost certainly that we haven't seen from them this season if the adjustment time does come. And the Celtics have talked quite a bit this year about how those this week about how those games, or the days between the games in this series, are going to allow them to make ample adjustments in this series. They'll all start with Game 1, though, taking that first punch. Ime Udoka saying that the plan is to swing first, assert themselves, show who they are early in this series, and of course they'll be ready to take those blows from Irving and Durant. From Auerbach Center, Bobby Manning, CLNS Media, Celtics All Access. We are brought to you by Calm. I wish this wind would calm down right now, but if you need to calm down while you're going to sleep, tough day at work, stressful time in your life, get that Calm app. Meditations, yoga, anything you need, even bedtime sounds, soothing sounds to calm you down, limit your stress, and focus on your mental health. You can get the premium version thanks to Garden Report for 40% off, calm.com/garden, 40% off a premium subscription at Calm. We'll see you back at TD Garden, maybe even out front of TD Garden for some man on the street style interviews, Josue Pavone and I. When the Celtics get underway at 3:30 against the Nets, we'll have coverage, we'll have post-game on CLNS Media. Auerbach Center, I'm Bobby Manning. We'll see you tomorrow.